All right, so today we're gonna do a deep dive.
Okay.
That's gonna kind of turn some assumptions upside down, I
All
think.
right.
We're gonna explore a connection between adult autism
Okay.
and uh, and what some might call mind reading.
Interesting.
We're looking at this article from Cheap ABA
Hmm.
called "Adult Autism and Mind Reading: A Misunderstood Ability."
Okay.
Now, you might be thinking, wait, isn't autism
Yeah.
often associated with social difficulties?
Right.
How can that be connected to being good at understanding other people's thoughts?
Yeah. You've hit on a really important point.
Go.
This deep dive is not about saying that everybody with autism has some superpower or something like that,
Right.
but it does challenge some common stereotypes.
Okay.
To understand what's really going on, we need to talk about theory of mind.
Okay, so theory of mind,
Yeah.
what is that in plain English?
Sure.
It sounds very complicated.
It's actually simpler than it sounds. Theory of mind is basically the ability to get that other people have their own thoughts and feelings and beliefs,
Right.
and that those might be totally different from your own.
Gotcha.
It's like being able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, even if you haven't walked their path.
Okay.
Now, what's really interesting is that research has shown that some autistic individuals may actually be very skilled at these theory of mind tasks.
Hmm.
In some situations, they even outperform neurotypical individuals.
So it's not just about understanding that other people have different thoughts,
Yeah,
but maybe even being able to predict what those thoughts might be.
exactly.
That's pretty impressive.
Imagine a really complex social situation,
Okay.
one where there's lots of unspoken rules and hidden motives.
Right.
Some autistic individuals might be particularly good at picking up on subtle cues and predicting how people will react.
Ah,
It's like they can see the social chessboard from a different angle and anticipate the next move.
wow. Okay. So I'm starting to see why this article calls it a misunderstood ability.
Yeah.
We often hear about the challenges autistic individuals might face.
Yeah.
But this research suggests there's also some potential strengths that might be overlooked.
Yeah.
But doesn't this kind of contradict the idea that autistic individuals struggle with empathy?
That's a common misconception, and it's one of the reasons why this topic is so important to discuss.
Okay.
You see, while some autistic individuals might have a hard time expressing their own emotions or reading subtle social cues, that doesn't mean they lack empathy.
Hmm.
It's more about the way they process and express those understandings.
So it's not about a lack of empathy,
Right.
but a different way of experiencing and showing it.
Exactly.
Oh,
And
oh.
unfortunately, this difference in communication can lead to misunderstandings and stereotypes.
Right.
People might mistake difficulty expressing emotions for a lack of feeling, which
Mhm.
isn't accurate at all.
He's making me think about all the different ways people communicate
Yeah.
and how easy it is to misinterpret things.
Mm-hmm.
Even in everyday conversations, I'm already starting to see things a bit differently.
That's a great takeaway.
Yeah.
The more we understand about the diverse ways people think and experience the world,
Right.
the better we can connect with each other.
Yeah, that's true.
But going back to theory of mind,
Yes.
the article highlights some real practical benefits for autistic individuals, right?
Yeah, you're right. The article mentions improved social interactions,
Mm-hmm.
enhanced problem solving,
Mm-hmm.
and even increased empathy
Mm-hmm.
as potential outcomes of understanding and developing theory of mind.
Yeah.
Let's break those down a bit, shall we?
Sure.
Starting with social interactions.
Okay, so let's say you're someone who struggles with interpreting facial expressions or body language.
Right.
Understanding that other people have their own unique perspectives and ways of communicating
Right.
can really help you navigate those social situations more effectively.
So instead of getting caught up in trying to decipher every little facial tick or gesture,
Yeah,
you can focus on the bigger picture of what the other person is thinking and feeling.
exactly.
That sounds less stressful, actually.
It's about shifting the focus from trying to read minds in a literal sense
Right.
to understanding the reasons behind people's actions.
Okay.
What are their motivations?
Gotcha.
What are they trying to communicate?
It's like learning a new set of social skills, but instead of just copying behaviors,
Mm-hmm.
it's about genuine understanding and empathy.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And speaking of empathy,
Yes.
let's address how it connects to theory of mind in this context.
Okay.
Remember, having a hard time expressing emotions
Yes.
doesn't equal a lack of empathy.
Right.
It's possible to deeply understand what someone else is feeling, even if you show it differently.
So someone with autism could be very attuned to someone else's sadness.
Yeah.
Even if they don't outwardly express sympathy, in a way that a neurotypical person would expect.
Exactly. And this is where things get really interesting because
Yeah.
this deeper understanding of emotions, even if it's expressed differently, can actually enhance empathy in very real ways. We often talk about empathy as this feeling we share with others.
All right.
But there's also a cognitive side to it, the ability to understand another person's perspective, and that's where theory of mind comes in.
So it's not just about feeling what someone else is feeling,
Right.
but also understanding why they might be feeling that way.
Yes.
Almost like having a mental model of their emotional state.
Precisely.
Okay.
And that kind of understanding can be incredibly powerful, not just for building relationships,
Right.
but also for resolving conflicts.
Conflict resolution, that's a great point.
Yeah.
I can see how being able to see a situation from multiple perspectives could help you find a solution that works for everyone involved.
Exactly.
It's like having a superpower for navigating tricky social situations.
That's not a bad analogy.
Yeah.
And this ability to see things from different angles isn't just useful in personal relationships.
Right.
Think about the workplace.
Okay.
Imagine being able to anticipate potential disagreements or misunderstandings with your colleagues because you understand their perspectives.
That would be invaluable in any collaborative environment, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
Being able to build stronger relationships, communicate more effectively, and work together more harmoniously. That's a big win.
It is, and it all circles back to the importance of challenging stereotypes and embracing the diversity of human experience.
Right.
Just because someone processes information differently
Yeah.
or interacts with the world in a way that's not what we're used to
Hmm.
doesn't mean they're lacking in empathy or understanding.
You're right. It's about recognizing the different ways people think, feel, and interact, and appreciating the unique contributions that each individual brings to the table.
Absolutely.
And that includes recognizing the potential strengths of neurodiversity, like these mind-reading abilities we've been discussing.
Yeah.
When we start to see these differences not as deficits, but as valuable assets, we can create a more inclusive and accepting society for everyone.
Well said. And while we've focused a lot on the social benefits of understanding theory of mind, there's another aspect we should explore, and that's its potential for enhancing problem-solving abilities.
Okay.
Imagine being able to approach a complex problem and see it from multiple angles,
Right.
considering different viewpoints and potential solutions that others might miss.
That's fascinating. It's almost like having a built-in advantage when it comes to tackling challenges and coming up with innovative solutions. I'd love to hear more about that.
Well, that's a perfect place to pick up after a quick break. When we come back, we'll delve deeper into how understanding theory of mind can make a real difference in the lives of autistic individuals, particularly when it comes to problem solving and navigating complex situations.
Okay, great. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
All right.
See you in a few. We were just talking about the potential of theory of mind to enhance problem solving.
Right.
I'm really curious to hear more about how that works in practice.
Okay, so think of it this way.
Okay.
When you understand theory of mind, you're essentially gaining the ability to consider multiple perspectives simultaneously. It's like having a team of advisors in your head.
A team of advisors,
Yeah.
each offering a different take on a problem.
Exactly.
So how does that translate into finding solutions then?
Well, let's say you're facing a challenging situation at work.
Okay.
Maybe there's a conflict between team members, or a project has hit a roadblock.
Okay.
Someone with strong theory of mind skills
Mm-hmm.
might be able to step back and analyze the situation from each person's point of view.
Okay.
They can consider the different motivations,
Right.
goals, and communication styles at play.
So instead of getting stuck in one way of seeing the problem,
Yeah.
they can sort of zoom out and see the bigger picture,
Yeah.
including all the different pieces of the puzzle.
Exactly. And that broader perspective allows them to come up with creative solutions that might not be obvious
Okay.
to someone who's only seeing things from their own limited viewpoint.
Right.
They might be able to identify compromises, suggest alternative approaches, or even anticipate potential pitfalls that others might miss.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like having a built-in conflict resolution system.
It can be a real asset,
Yeah.
not just in conflict resolution,
Right.
but in any situation that requires creative thinking and problem solving.
Okay.
Think about fields like engineering, design, or even scientific research.
Right.
The ability to see a problem from multiple angles is essential for innovation and breakthroughs.
This makes me think about all the times I've struggled with a problem,
Yeah.
only to have someone else come in with a fresh perspective and unlock a solution
Right.
I never would have thought of.
Exactly.
Maybe some of those people were tapping into their theory of mind skills without even realizing it.
It's entirely possible, and this brings us back to a key point.
Okay.
We've touched on throughout this deep dive,
Hmm.
recognizing the strengths of neurodiversity.
Right.
We often focus on the challenges associated with autism,
Yeah.
but understanding theory of mind helps us see the potential advantages that a different way of thinking can bring.
It's about shifting our mindset from seeing differences as deficits
Yeah.
to seeing them as valuable assets.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
When we recognize the strengths of neurodiversity,
Mhm.
we can create environments where everyone can thrive and contribute their unique talents.
That's a powerful message.
Yeah.
And it's one that I think a lot of people need to hear.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what's the one thing you want listeners to walk away with? What's the most important takeaway from all of this?
I think the biggest takeaway is the importance of challenging our assumptions.
Okay.
When we encounter someone who thinks or interacts with the world differently,
Yeah.
our first instinct might be to focus on the differences.
Right.
But what if we instead focused on understanding?
Mm.
What if we made an effort to see the world through their eyes?
That's a great challenge for all of us to take on.
Yeah.
Even though this deep dive has been specifically about autism and theory of mind,
Mm-hmm.
I think it has broader implications
Yeah.
for how we approach human connection in general.
I agree. Understanding theory of mind is not just about interacting with autistic individuals.
Right.
It's about learning to be more empathetic,
Mm-hmm.
more understanding, and more open-minded in all our relationships.
Right.
It's about recognizing that everyone experiences the world in their own unique way,
Right.
and that those different perspectives enrich our lives in countless ways.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
Well, this has been an incredibly thought-provoking conversation. I know I've learned a lot, and I hope our listeners have too.
Me too.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to add? Any final thoughts for our audience?
I think the most important thing is to remember that this is just the beginning of the conversation.
Okay.
There's so much more to learn about autism,
Right.
theory of mind, and the incredible diversity of the human experience.
Mm-hmm.
I encourage everyone to keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep challenging their own assumptions.
That's great advice.
Mm-hmm.
So to all our deep divers out there, keep diving, keep learning, and keep connecting. And until next time, keep your minds open and your curiosity alive.